Dear BJP members, it brings me great joy to connect with you through this video. In this video, I will elaborate on how India is currently facing a loss of its governance structure. Governance is determined by three key attributes: the economic development, security system, and human rights. Considering the global opportunities available to India, the country's economic growth should ideally be around 10%, propelling it into the realm of a $5 trillion economy. However, India is currently struggling with a growth rate of only 4% and trailing behind $3.5 trillion economy. It is evident that the economic figures presented by government do not accurately reflect the state of the economy. To truly understand the health of the Indian economy, an economic census is conducted every 5 years. The economic census is a count of all entrepreneurial units in India that are involved in economic activity. What you see in the screen are two things. One is the economic census that was prepared during Dr. Manmohan Singh's time and released in 2016, and another one is the 7th economic census, which is just a projection by the bureaucrats. Now it is 2024, the 8th economic census should have been published, but unfortunately during Mr. Modi's regime, no such economic census have been undertaken. Without this vital data, any economic projections made by the bureaucrats remain mere estimations rather than factual representation of economic health. Demonetization emerged as yet another scam purportedly aimed at curbing black money and counterfeit currencies originating from Pakistan. However, banks nationwide have recorded approximately rupees 1.13 lakh crores in high value deposits from customers lacking valid documentation, suggesting potential collusion among officials to conceal illicit funds. In reality, the amount of money that went from the banks to those who came to exchange currencies was significantly higher than the amount bank received from them. Thus, Mr. Modi possesses the answers to these discrepancies. The India Employment Report 2024, jointly published by the International Labour Organization and the Institute of Human Development, reveals that 83% of employable individuals are unemployed, with a significant portion falling below the age of 34. Despite this alarming statistics, Mr. Modi maintains that all Indian youths are employed, even considering street food vending such as selling pakoras as legitimate employment. However, he fails to refer to the data presented by the ILO and IHD, as his government has not conducted the regular 5-year employment census. I have encountered mechanical engineers who are now in catering business. They have opted for this profession due to familial economic constraints rather than personal inclination. They have taken up cooking because they were unable to find employment commensurate with their mechanical engineering degrees. If these individuals had a genuine passion for culinary arts, they would have pursued education at a catering college rather than an engineering institution. The accuracy of the figures provided by the International Labour Organization and the Institute of Human Development is likely reliable, given that Mr. Modi has not undertaken any surveys to establish the index of industrial production. Therefore, we must depend on data provided by private researchers which corroborates with the information from the ILO and IHD. Last year, a Hindi language comedy drama film starring Shah Rukh Khan titled Donkey was released. The movie revolves around the illegal immigration technique known as donkey flight, shedding light on the harsh realities of people traveling like livestock inside closed metal containers. While such truths may be startling, they are indeed factual. Recent data from the US Customs and Border Protection revealed a record number of 96,917 Indians arrested for illegal crossing into US between October 2022 and September 2023. Additionally, we have observed several Indian youths queuing up to travel to Israel and Ukraine despite the ongoing conflicts. This raises the question about the state of employment in India, as individuals would not typically seek work in a war-torn regions if opportunities were abundant domestically. While economic development of India is grim, the security situation is also not encouraging. A staggering 4,005 square meters of undisputed Indian territory is currently under Chinese occupation. The shepherd community in Ladakh has suffered significant losses as their grazing lands have been seized, leading to adverse effect on Pashmina wool production in the region. Despite mounting concerns, the government has been evasive in addressing the question raised in Parliament, citing reasons of national security. While information regarding India's occupation of Chinese land may be deemed classified, the occupation of Indian territory by China is undeniably a national calamity. It is imperative that the people of India, particularly the parliamentarians, have the right to access this information. Are the Chinese invincible? Despite the setback of 1962, India demonstrated its strength as early as 1967 while safeguarding the kingdom of Sikkim both at Nathula in September and Chola in October of that year. The Chinese forces were repelled thanks to the leadership exhibited by Mrs. Indira Gandhi. This historic feat inspired the creation of the Hindi film Paltan in 2018, symbolizing India's triumph. Furthermore, India achieved another victory over the Chinese in 1987 at Samdarangchu Valley in Arunachal Pradesh. The Chinese have become increasingly assertive following Mr. Modi's numerous unannounced private meetings with Xi Jinping, totaling 18 encounters. Surprisingly, the details of these discussions have never been disclosed to the Parliament. This raises concerns about Mr. Modi's apparent acquiescence. Is there a reason behind Mr. Modi's sudden timidity? Could the Chinese Ministry of State Security possess personal information about Mr. Modi from his visit to Xi'an, Changsha, Xiamen, Wuhan, and Qingdao? Alternatively, has he engaged in clandestine financial transactions with Chinese entities for the benefit of his associates from Gujarat? Could Chinese assistance have played a role in Mr. Modi's victories in the 2014 and 2019 elections? The silence from Mr. Modi's end only adds to the speculation. Apart from portraying himself as a statesman, adorning various costumes and distributing souvenirs adorned with his image, what concrete action has Mr. Modi taken? Due to his lack of statesmanship, members of the SAARC nations beginning to lose respect for India. The Maldives and India share a long-standing history of cooperation, particularly in defense. India has provided Mali with 2 helicopters and a Dornier aircraft, primarily utilized for marine surveillance, search and rescue missions, and medical evacuations. In 1988, India's Operation Cactus played a pivotal role in thwarting a coup attempt in the Maldives, orchestrated by a group of Maldivians and with the support of a Sri Lankan militant organization. However, the current situation sees Maldives requesting India to vacate its presence from their territory, instead opting for Chinese protection. The third and the important aspect of good governance is giving proper human rights to the people of their country. A significant measure of human rights lies in the degree of press freedom upheld by a nation. Presently, major news channels are encountering threats and obstacles to their freedom of expression. While I may hold personal reservations about Mr. Kejriwal's approach, it remains wholly unacceptable for a caretaker government to arrest a chief minister immediately after the announcement of a parliamentary elections. In the light of Britain's status as a Christian kingdom and with the absence of a Hindu kingdom akin to Nepal, there appears to be a desire among some to transform India into a Hindu republic. However, it is imperative to acknowledge the damage inflicted upon India under the leadership of Mr. Modi, placing the nation on the brink of losing its essence of governance. History has shown that in the absence of true governance, external forces often seize control. Dear BJP members, it is true that BJP doesn't promote hereditary leadership. So, continue to remain in your party. But it is important to consider the larger picture for the progress of our nation. Hence, this time I urge you to cast your vote for India Alliance to prevent Mr. Modi from returning to power once again. Mr. Modi has begun to exhibit dictatorial tendencies within the BJP, and another victory for the party would only reinforce his control. If BJP wins, Mr. Modi will secure his third term as a Prime Minister, potentially leading our nation further downhill. History has shown us that leaders like Mr. Modi can weaken India, making it vulnerable to foreign influence and invasions. We must learn from our past and prevent such occurrences in the 21st century. Just as Oskar Schindler despite his affiliation with the Nazi Party, worked against its atrocities to save lives. We too must take a stand for the betterment of our country. By voting for the India Alliance, you can play a crucial role in safeguarding the future of India. Thank you.